I watched 163 movies last year in 2025, and I'm here to yap about it. So sit down, get settled in, because she'll be here for a while, okay? Welcome back to another video. Today's one will be a long one, a lot of yapping, so I suggest you grab a snack and a drink. I have my matcha remnants here, and get settled because it would be a lot of information, so you want to pay attention and really digest what I'm about to say, because there's some really important points that are going to come up later in the video. JK, I'm making it seem like a lot more of an important video than it is. I'm just going to be yapping about movies. Anyways, let's get into it. I'm very excited to be talking about movies to you guys today. In January 2025, so last year, I was at the airport in Bali with my dear friend Gwen on our way home from our trip back to Wellington. And we were yapping about movies, and Gwen said that in 2024, so the year before that, she had done a little movie watching challenge where she challenged herself to watch 10 new movies every month, so movies that she hasn't seen before. And as soon as she said that, I was like, my eye was twitching. I was like, I have to do this. I have to do it in 2025. And now 123 new movies later, here I am on the other side, and that's what we're talking about today. Yup. But yeah, I'm so surprised and super happy with myself that I was able to hit the goal of 120, so 10 movies every month. And I'm just now, like, looking back at it, knowing what I know now, realizing how much fucking time that is out of my 2025, just staring at a screen watching movies. But I loved it. I have no complaints. And in fact, spoiler alert, I'm doing it again this year, but we'll get to that. All right, just before I fully get into this video, I do also want to say that I recognize that I'm in a very lucky position to even have the time to watch 163 movies in a year. Like I said, that's a lot of time, and not everybody is gonna be able to take that time. But I will say, if you are in a position where you have the time to watch more movies in 2026, I fully 100% recommend it. I think it's so much better to put the time that you're putting into, for example, doom scrolling, put that time into watching long form content and movies that really have meaning for you, or movies that depict someone else's lived experience, because that also builds empathy within you and really like just widens your worldview for what other types of cultures or lives or experiences there are out there. And I think that is so much better than just like aimlessly doom scrolling on TikTok for 2 hours, because if you're gonna do that, then might as well just watch something worthwhile. Hot take, I guess. I will just get into some of my thoughts after having finished my little movie watching experience. I feel like I've always been somebody who enjoys watching movies, but I've never ever really like deliberately put in time into that as an interest or a hobby. Like, I love cinematography. I make YouTube videos, but it's never really a hobby or an interest that I cultivated, so to say. Even just becoming an adult, like growing up, I didn't really explore what my adult film taste would be. I just kind of still liked the same Disney movies and whatever that I liked as a kid, and I just never kind of like explored more genres or other things. And I feel like in that way this challenge has been really helpful for me, because I've been able to just go out there and watch all kinds of different films, and I found so many new favorites, so many surprising favorites, new genres that I really like. It was a really good excuse almost for me to be able to just watch all kinds of films from all kinds of directors and screenwriters telling all kinds of different stories that you know, I wouldn't have had access to otherwise. You get a little glimpse into somebody else's story that someone else out there can relate to or has lived through, and you get a little glimpse into it and you start to understand the feelings that those people go through, like all of these things that you wouldn't have found out about otherwise. And you just gain some understanding and insight into what that person is going through, and it helps you understand different people's points of view and where they're coming from, different cultures, different experiences. I think that's a skill that everybody needs to have, is empathy. You have to be able to understand other people. And I'm not saying take movies as truth, every movie is based on a true story, like that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying there are pieces of real people's experiences and stories in these fictional scenarios, and being able to look at those and really understand what those people are feeling in the moment is helpful for you as an empath, as a person, to understand other people, yourself, and the world, if that makes sense. Tell me in the comments if that makes no sense. I just know that there are some stats nerds, nerd girlies out there who are dying to see some data. Don't you worry, because I have accumulated all of the data from every single film that I watched last year. I put it all in an Excel sheet. I have graphs, and I'm going to present everything right now. So here comes the letterbox wrapped part of the video, if you can call it that. I will be cheating from my laptop. Smisky is on there showing crack, like he should. I will just start off by mentioning some of my favorites. I rated these 13 films 5 stars this year, and these are the 4 films that I have on my 4 favorites on Letterboxd right now. And while we're at it, this is my Letterboxd handle if you want to go follow. I'm actually pretty funny sometimes. I write good reviews, you know. I have just a few special mentions, I think 5 or 6, for films that really kind of touched me or moved me in some way last year. And I would highly recommend you watch them if you haven't seen them already, because they are so good. I'm gonna try and keep this really short, but as we know, I'm a yapper, so take that with a grain of salt. But there are definitely a lot of full-length videos on each of these films on YouTube by people who are a lot more eloquent than me, so I would highly recommend you go watch those as well if you're interested. And like I said, definitely watch the films and come talk to me if you do. We are starting off with Sinners. Y'all know this was coming. I love Sinners. If you haven't seen Sinners already, first of all, you're late. And second of all, get your ass in front of a computer right now. There's illegal websites out there you can watch it on. I certainly did. Well, I went to see it in cinemas once, and then I rewatched it a few months later, illegally. This has been one of the biggest films of the year, of last year, for a reason. In fact, Michael B. Jordan got snubbed for a Critics' Choice Award a few days ago, and I thought that was insane. And I don't know what was going on in the awards committee, but clearly they don't have taste. Anyways, I went to see it alone in theaters in Wellington, and I remember just sitting there after it finished and being like, why aren't you playing it again? Like, I want to see it again from the beginning. Play it from the top, redo it right now. It is so fucking good. The performances are amazing, obviously. Michael B. Jordan plays 2 fucking characters immaculately. The tension is great. The music is so good. It has probably one of my favorite scenes of the whole year of any movie that I watched, which is the music scene kind of in the middle of the film. If you have seen it, you'll know. If you haven't, then you'll know if you watch it. It is so good. It gave me chills. Oh, guys, I should rewatch Sinners. The horror aspect is amazing. It's got vampires in it. It's got vampires. What else would you want from a film? It's got great performances, great music, amazing cinematography, and horror and vampires. Guys, wrap it up. Wrap it up right now. Next up, we have One Battle After Another by Paul Thomas Anderson, PTA. Listen, he ate with that film and he probably knows it too. I think this is probably my favorite cinema experience of the year. I went to see it on like a random Tuesday morning at 10 a.m. The cinema was almost empty except for a few other people, and I was gagged the whole time. The whole time from the start. When Teyana Taylor comes on screen, I was like, I'm sold. I'm sold. It is another amazing story. Like, just I should rewatch it. Fuck. I was just sucked into it, stuck in the story. From the first scene, just the way the movie conveys the emotions that it wants you to feel, makes you feel them so strongly. I was stressed out. If you've seen it, towards the end, there's like a car chase scene. I was so stressed out of my mind. I was like, if that theater had been empty, I would have been yelling at the screen. It's so good. Cinematography again is amazing. Leo, he is a great actor and he did so well with this character. And Chase Infinity, another amazing young actor. She did so fucking well. It's just, But basically, my jaw was on the floor the whole time. The train was stopped at Gag Central Station with no intention of leaving. And that's all I'll say. Next up is the 2022 movie Batman, or I think it's called The Batman by director Matt Reeves. This is a movie that Gwen actually recommended that I watch, and I'm so glad that I did. I watched this at home and I was just like so absolutely glued to the screen. I don't think I breathed for the entire 176 minutes of this film. I don't think I took a single proper breath. I was just like glued to the screen. And it's a long movie, like I said, 176 minutes. Like, that's a long time, but it didn't feel long at all. I feel like the plot just was kept moving in such a well-paced, interesting way that it doesn't feel like it's dragging on. It doesn't feel long at all. I should rewatch it. What the hell? It was so good. It's really moody and I love films like that. The whole combination of the performances, what the actors did with those characters that have been done so many times before, it just gave it kind of a new spin. All right, then we have Frankenstein by Guillermo del Toro. This was another super moody film. I feel like a lot of people will have seen it just because it's on Netflix. So moody. I really wish I had been able to see it in cinema. I feel like every movie is always better in cinema, especially big productions like this. It is such a compelling and like interesting story about the conception of life and then the repercussions of Dr. Frankenstein creating life. Like he has such a need to create life through this like unnatural scientific procedure, and then he does it and he doesn't know what to do with himself and it consumes him. Like, it's such a gripping story, and I have heard heaps of feedback from people who are fans of Mary Shelley's original book saying that it's not really faithful to the story, but I do think that we have to give it some slack just because it isn't really even marketed as a fully faithful adaptation, and I do think we need to just consider some pieces of media and art as their own pieces instead of connecting them too heavily onto the source material. And Mary Shelley's book is amazing, obviously, but this movie is also amazing separately from the book, if that makes sense. Yeah, and I said it. You heard it here first. Next up, we have Grave of the Fireflies by Isao Takahata and Studio Ghibli. This is an old one. I hadn't seen it before, and one of my major goals for last year and the challenge was to finish watching all of the Ghibli films because I've been watching the popular ones since I was like 5 years old. Like, I've seen them hundreds of times. But there's a few of the lesser known ones that I hadn't seen, and Grave of the Fireflies was one. And it is so absolutely heartbreaking. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend you do, but please prepare mentally, because I knew it would be sad, but I was not prepared for the heartaches that I went through because of that movie. It is so, so depressing and heartbreaking. So just a warning there. But I feel like it is such a good story about war and loss and the implications of war and how it affects civilians and children especially. And I feel like in the world that we're in, obviously seeing so many genocides and human rights violations, seeing them right in front of our eyes on our phones and screens all the time, I think it gets so overwhelming. It's very easy to detach from it or reduce the people into numbers. And I think films like this are really important because they help us remember that all of those people that these terrible, awful atrocities are happening to are still just people. It was a beautiful film. I don't think I will put myself through that again, but I did give it 5 stars, I think, or 4.5. It was so gripping. It was so sad, but it was great. And then lastly, one more kind of wildcard mention. This is The Wailing or Koksong by the director Na Hong-jin, who is a Korean director. This is for the horror film fans and for the Korean horror fans. I am both. And Na Hong-jin did such a good job with this film. It has amazing, amazing tension building, cinematography, lore, performances from the cast, especially the child. The actor is called Kim Hwan-hee, who plays this crazy child in the movie. She did so well. As like, I don't know, a 9-year-old. That's crazy talent. I'm not gonna say anything about the plot, you can find out for yourself, but I will say, please watch it. And I did also really like Exuma, Hamyo, which I watched for Helsinki Film Festival. That was really, really good as well. Yeah. Okay. That was a bit of a mouthful. I told you to grab a snack. I hope you listen to me. So let me just speed run some of my other data for you to make this go a little bit faster. This data will only be applicable for the 123 new movies that I watched. So I didn't include any of my rewatches in here because that would throw it all off. So starting off with how I divided my ratings, it is looking like this. I was kind of throwing around the 4-star rating. I don't know, maybe I'm just not very good at being consistent with my ratings. I really just rate by vibes. But yeah, overall it looks like I was watching good movies this year, so can't really complain about that. And also because I just know there's gonna be somebody asking about my lowest rated movies. My only half-star movie was Ratatouille, which is a animated movie that is available on YouTube if you want to watch it. I wouldn't recommend, but if you want to, it's there. And then Baby Girl was my only 1-star rated film. The only good thing about that experience is I was watching it with my 2 besties and the whole theater was laughing the whole time. And then my 1.5 rated movie was Anyone But You, the Sydney Sweeney and Glenn Powell one. I hated it. Sorry. Like, I think I would rather watch paint dry on a wall than rewatch that movie. So yeah. Then we have cinema versus at home. So where I was watching these films. This could be interesting for some of you. I don't know. It was interesting for me. Looks like I went to the cinema quite a lot. So 17 films I saw at the cinema, which is 14%, which is kind of impressive, I think. 17 films at the cinema. The reason for this is that I get cheap tickets from my lovely sister who works at a movie theater. And I am absolutely shamelessly taking advantage of that. So thank you, sister, for letting me purchase all of these tickets from you. I will continue to do so this year. But yeah, if I didn't have that, I would not be going to the cinema nearly as much because movie theater ticket prices here in Finland are fucking insane. They are so expensive. It's like 20 euros for one ticket. Hello? That's my rent, actually. So yeah, I would definitely not be going to the cinema half as much if I didn't get the five euro tickets from my sister. Also, fun fact, I ended up actually going to the cinema in 4 different countries this year, which is quite cool. So obviously New Zealand and Finland, and Australia in Brisbane, and Singapore. Yeah, bit of an accomplishment, I guess. Okay, next up we have top year / decade. It's kind of not really that interesting. My top decade was the 2020s because I was watching mostly recent movies from 2025 and 2024. 2025 was also my biggest year, which is not surprising, but a close second was the 2000s. The 2000s category would also be bigger if I had my rewatches on there, because I was rewatching a lot of my childhood movies. And then the one movie that I watched that was from the 70s is the first Star Wars movie, so Star Wars Episode 4. And then lastly, we have film language, which actually I thought was the most interesting data that I got, or category. Obviously, the top language here is English, but if we forget about that, we get to the interesting part. I have Japanese at the second place, Korean following pretty close, and then I have a category with films that feature multiple languages. For example, All We Imagine Is Light, which includes Hindi, Malayalam, and Marathi dialogue, and In the Mood for Love, which I believe has Cantonese and Shanghainese dialogue, and lastly, Sentimental Value, that has Norwegian, Swedish, and English dialogue. For example, there's more. But yeah, I thought that was super cool. And I also realized I need to be watching a lot more films that are not in English this year, and I'm really hoping to do that. And also, I need to watch more films in Finnish. I'm apparently terrible at watching films from my own country, so we should change that. For this last bit of the video, first of all, thank you for staying this long if you have. I want to take you through my plan for this year, because if you thought that this was the end, you'd be wrong. I am only going to hopefully watch more this year. Surely. And my watch list has literally only been growing ever since I started this challenge, so there's only one thing I can do to make that right, and it is watch more films. Right. But yeah, one of my personal goals for watching films or media in general, reading books, all of that, is to be a little bit more mindful on what I'm consuming, and then when I do actually watch something or read something, to engage with it a little bit more. I am nothing if not a put pen to paper type of girl, so naturally I have journals. I have what I'm calling a media literacy journal, but really it's just for reviews of books and movies and whatever, and it has a sticker of Miyazaki crashing out, and I thought that was very on brand, so I got that. And then I have another journal just for writing random thoughts and notes and whatever when I'm watching things or reading things, and it has a little sequence of 10 Things I Hate About You, which is one of my favorite movies, of course. It's the perfect movie. I rewatched it a few days ago. It's the perfect movie. It's the only movie, actually. And I will not be taking questions at this time. And of course, as part of this media literacy project, I have to watch more films. So I have devised a plan for my 120 movies in 2026. It's kind of the same. I'm watching 10 films every month, sometimes less, sometimes more. I mean, I'm not gonna be strict with just 10 every month. I'm gonna be going with the flow, if you will. This time I have assigned categories for each month. which I'm very excited about. I put a lot of effort and thought into these categories. Just to run you through the categories, I'm starting easy in January, and I'm just doing films that have been on my watch list for a while, but I haven't gotten around to seeing them yet. Then February, of course, on theme, we're doing films about love, but, and that's a big but, I am not just doing romantic love, I'm doing kind of all kinds of love, of course, platonic, family, between family members. I actually have a film on my list for that month that is between a person and AI, which, can you really call that love? We can talk about AI another time. Self-love as well. I'm trying to also include a lot of films with queer love. So all types of love are welcome here, of course, and I'm really trying to curate a lot of variety within the 10 films. In March, very much on brand to the Oscars, I have Academy Award Best Picture winners. Then in April, I have animated movies, but again, please don't think Disney. When I say animation, I do not want you to think Disney. I'm going to be really scouring the internet for some interesting, beautiful animation that is different from the mainstream. Then I have non-English speaking movies for May. Then for June, I have summer theme movies. And this is movies that are set in summer, but also movies that would not make sense if they weren't set in summer. It being summer has to be an integral part of the film. Then in July, I have musicals. If you know me, then you know I'm not a huge fan of musicals, but I'm trying to convert myself in July. In August, I have franchises, movie series that have at least 2 standalone movies. September is blind recommendations, which means I will do 0 research on the plot and I will go in blind, and I think that'll be really fun. October, obviously horror, spooky month. November is recommendations from my friends and family. And then December, festive movies. And that's the categories. I'm very excited, and like I said, I'm gonna pick 10-ish movies from each category each month and watch them, review them, and I'm gonna make a video about it. Sue me. I'm going to do my best to do a video review of my previous month's 10 movies every month. I mean, I love to yap and I love movies, so it really is what I do best. So you will be hearing about this. Trust, this is not the last time you're hearing about this. It's the 9th of January as I'm filming this. So I've watched a few films already that you'll be hearing about in February. One more thing. If you have any recommendations based on any of my categories for films that you think I should watch, please let me know. Please text me or put them in the comments. I will be very excited to read through them. Yeah, I hope you got something out of this video. Surely, if you did, let me know. If you didn't, let me know. Anyways, this is in fact finally the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching me yap about movies for half an hour. Yeah, if you're still here at the end of this video, I salute you and I love you. And yeah, I will see you in February.